Hello there, children. Watch out, spoilers ahead. If you don't want the Five Nights at Freddy's movie spoiled, click of now. Now let's get back to the party.
I would like to start by saying I had a lot of fun watching the movie. I went with my friends and it was a good time. However, it was not a good movie, or at least not a good horror movie. It was fun. It was a story I've always wanted to see turned into a movie, and I will definitely watch the second movie that comes out and any more that come out after that because I'm a big fan, but it wasn't scary. I wasn't scared once, and even my friends who get scared by anything weren't scared once. I think that's because there was a lack of tension and because they made the animatronics peaceful and harmless like halfway through the movie. Also, we got robbed. Markiplier was going to be the security guard who got killed in the very beginning of the movie.
It was actually there that I got to see who else was going to be a part of this movie up on the wall. That's where I actually learned that Gore was going to be a cab driver for the first time. It was also where I saw that good old Markiplier was supposed to be the security guard who gets killed at the very beginning of the movie.
But he's making his own movie, Iron Lungs, so he couldn't fill that role. We did get Matt Pat and Corey Kenshin.
Miss Sparkies, could I set you folks up with some appetizers?
We are not eating.
Well, that's no fun. You do realize that lunch is the most important meal of the day.
Thought it was breakfast.
Some people say that, but you know, it's just a theory.
Are you being paid by the word, or could we have a minute? Thank you.
I don't know who Corey Kenshin is, but it was cool seeing Matt Pat. So the first problem I noticed while watching the movie was that they added in all these extra characters and made their storylines cross paths when in the games they either never existed or they're like from 3 games later, but for some reason they're in the first movie. Vanessa, for instance. Vanessa is from Security Breach, and she was just a person who tested out the VR Freddy game or whatever it was and then got possessed by William Afton. But in this movie, she's a cop and also William Afton's daughter, and she specifically covers his back on the Freddy establishment so that when people go to investigate, she just says, nope, no evidence here, no bodies here, and just kind of leaves all the evidence in there for William to experiment with. The next character that kind of irked me was the aunt, the evil witchy aunt. I understand her point was to encourage our protagonist, Mike, to get the job at FNAF because her whole thing was, I want to take your younger sister, I want to adopt her so that I can get money from the state because I'm lazy and evil. But she just ends up dying, and her only use was pushing Mike to get the Five Nights at Freddy's security job. She did also hire some goons, but again, those goons just died like immediately, so more extra characters that didn't do anything except take up time. The next thing they did wrong was they got rid of the original motivation of the animatronics to kill the security guards. Originally in the games, as most of you probably already know, you play as a security guard, and the security guards all wear the same purple security uniform, and because they all wear that same uniform, the animatronics think you're the guy who killed them, so they go after you. In the movies, it was like, Springtrap's telling them to kill you. Yeah, he just has authority over them.
The kids, they don't want to hurt anyone. It's him. He influences them somehow.
He literally has a fat ass and I want to smack it!
Why? There's a picture on the wall of him holding all the kids' hands, so that's why he can do that, because the kids don't remember that William Afton, aka Springtrap, is the one who killed them. It was pretty lame. It didn't make a lot of sense. They didn't delve into it, and yeah, it just sucked compared to the original lore. And I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, it didn't follow the original lore exactly, but I kind of have to be, because the plot lines that they introduce just aren't as good as the original stuff that was already there. And I know that Scott had the ability to basically change anything he wanted.
Most of the production crew didn't know who he was. They just knew him as the VIP on set, who everyone had to listen to if he asked them to do something, but no one actually understood what he was, that he was the creator of the game.
So I'm sitting here wondering if he was okay or even wanted them to take it in a new direction and with a new interpretation of the story, because I mean, it just isn't anything like his version of the story. A lot of people are saying the reason why it was was changed so much is to make it PG-13, but I don't think you necessarily have to dumb everything down and then on top of that scramble all the lore and change it into something completely new just to make it PG-13. It could have been PG-13 and the horror could have come from like sounds, like, you know, first person of the security guard when the power goes out, he's running for it, he's running down the hallway looking for any room to lock himself behind until 6 a.m. and as he's running you can hear the sound of one of the animatronics, or maybe multiple of them, clamping down the hallway coming after him, and then right as he shuts the door they start banging against it, and you know, because of how strong they are, it's tense. You don't know if they're gonna get in and kill him. It could have been scary without gore. It didn't have to show any kids, dead bodies being destroyed and stuffed into animatronic suits. It didn't have to show anybody being ripped to shreds, even though the animatronics totally have the strength to do so. It could have been scary, it could have been tense without having to breach the PG-13 rules, you know? But I understand that they're marketing towards children, since the younger generations are the ones keeping the FNAF community alive for the most part. So they added in new characters, connected characters in ways that they really shouldn't have, and added plot lines that were pretty flimsy and lame and only really took away and took up time. But on top of that, they also had a bunch of fan service that didn't add anything or even like took away. So William Afton actually has his Springtrap death scene in this movie, and when he dies, you can actually see quite a bit of gore, which I was kind of surprised by. You know, like supposedly it's PG-13, no gore allowed, yet we're watching this man being ripped apart by his suit. Anyways, they had him say the line, "I always come back."
I always come back.
What? Why would he say that when he hasn't even died yet? He only says "I always come back" because he realized that, oh, I'm dead, but I'm immortal because of Remnant or whatever, so I'm just gonna keep coming back no matter how many times you burn me up. But that was like way after he had died that he started saying that. So there's no reason for someone who hasn't died yet and hasn't figured out that they're immortal to say that they're going to keep coming back. Just kind of lame fan service that really took me out of it. Also, them showing Balloon Boy at the very beginning. Bro, he hasn't even been invented yet. Why is Balloon Boy in the first restaurant from FNAF 1? He comes from the second restaurant in FNAF 2. What are they doing, man? It's like they got Matt Pat there, but they didn't even bring him into the script writing room. They're just like, you know, fuck it. We're just gonna take this in a completely new direction. We don't care about the original lore at all. And again, I don't think the movie necessarily had to be 100% accurate to the original lore, but there was a lot of good stuff that they just passed by, and a lot of good stuff that they used only for the sake of fan service. And again, when they did that, it just took me out of it. I also wasn't really into the dream theory theme they had going on throughout the movie. I thought it was an interesting idea, but the way they used it was kind of repetitive and boring. Probably the most boring scenes were the scenes of Mike in his like dreamscape communicating with the dead kids. I just wanted to see him fighting off animatronics. That's really all I wanted to see. I also think that a lot of people are saying it needed more jump scares, it needed more jump scares. And I can agree on that. It definitely could have used some more jump scares, but also I feel like we have to remember that in the games, when you get jump scared, that's usually because you just die. Like, you're getting jump scared and 0.1 seconds later, the animatronic's ripping your face off. They don't jump scare you and then walk away. So for a jump scare to have happened, I think the protagonist would have to die. So it makes more sense to me that there weren't really any jump scares. I think probably my last complaint would be the chair, the Saw FNAF crossover chair, where it's like the Freddy mask with the blades in it slowly coming towards you. I thought that was so lame. Five Nights at Freddy's was never about traps. The closest thing there was in the games was the scooper. And the scooper was cool because it wasn't something that like strapped you down. It was just a tool used to scoop the animatronics that was then used on Michael as a trap. But deliberately building a Freddy mask chair thing that the animatronics put you in, but only sometimes, it didn't feel like it had a place. It didn't feel like it came naturally. I mean, I think we're supposed to assume William built it, but then it's like, why are the animatronics using it? Is it because Springtrap controls them? I don't know. It just felt really out of place. I wanted to see death coming from the animatronics themselves or the spring lock suits. I wasn't really expecting or interested in the Freddy mask trap saw crossover chair. It just wasn't doing it for me. Although I was having a lot of fun with the movie, and you know, me and all my friends were joking around, something else that really took me out of the mood, took me out of like the suspension of disbelief, was when the animatronics started building a fort and we learned that they were completely non-violent and harmless if you were able to communicate with them. And it was like, why do we have Abby over here talking to them? What is that adding here? Why bridge the gap? Why take away the mystery? Why take away the tension? You know, once you know the animatronics aren't gonna hurt you, it's not scary anymore, bro. It's no longer a horror movie when the monster isn't a monster. You can't humanize the animatronics in movie 1. Now they're not scary for shit. I was so hoping to just like one scene where Foxy runs down the hallway and starts beating down the door, but no, we didn't get anything like that. There was nothing that really paid homage to the mechanics of the game, noises, and what made the game scary. It was a lot of tension and just them staring at you from the cameras, electronics going haywire, not knowing what's going on, not getting a lot of information, being left in the dark for the most part, and they didn't do any of that. Anytime something needed to be known, Mike figured it out within like 10 minutes. He was like, why are these animatronics moving? 10 minutes later, Abby's like, oh, they're ghosts, idiot. Don't you know that ghosts can possess things and they're ghosts? Dummy. Something else that took me out of the mood was the fact that their eyes kept lighting up red. Red means bad, guys. When the eyes are red, that means something bad's going to happen. That was so lame. Just keep them white. There's no reason to make them go red. Like, I get it. It's a kids movie. Bro, I don't think the kids are so stupid that the eyes need to light up red for the people watching to understand that the animatronics are about to kill somebody. When the animatronics are looking at you crazed and they're stomping towards you and they're about to crush you with their jaw, you can tell they're about to kill you. It's pretty obvious. They're massive machines with clear murderous intent. There's just no point in the red eyes. Also, the animatronic suits actually look really good, and I'm very happy and pleasantly surprised that they didn't use CGI for the most part throughout this movie. It's impressive how close the animatronic suits are to the original characters, and the fact that they didn't need CGI to do it. Props to the puppeteers in those suits. Something I did like though, as far as them adding in plot, was when they made William Afton a career counselor. I thought that was actually really clever. It made it a little bit more predictable who William Afton was in the story, but it kind of makes sense that William would want to keep traffic going towards the restaurant to keep on, you know, experimenting with dead bodies and such. Overall, I'd give the movie a 5 out of 10. It was fun, it was entertaining at times, and I've been looking forward to this for a very long time. As soon as I heard about it, I knew I had to see it because I am a big fan. So I was able to enjoy it, but I don't think it really did the game's justice. And I think that if you're someone who doesn't know anything about the lore, this was just another mid-horror movie. If I didn't know how good the original game lore was compared to what slop got put in front of me that night, then I'd probably give the movie a 6 out of 10 because, ooh, that's creepy. That's like Chuck E. Cheese, except evil. The movie definitely could have used at least a couple more jump scares on maybe some like other security guards who don't really matter, or even some scenes of Springtrap ushering kids into a corner, you know, never to be seen again. Some bone crunching noises, loud machinery running towards you noises, you know, more stuff in the vents. Just really could have done better overall with the horror and the tension, and that was really lacking. And I was really missing those kinds of themes while watching the movie. Really hoping and expecting, but never receiving.
His name is William Afton. He's my father.